Alright, so today I'm going to be coding from scratch in a program called Scratch. So the first thing I did was I created my account, and I know how to click create and go over here and do things, but I'm not really being able to do much because I'm not very familiar with this program. So I found this tutorial, and it's how to make agar.io on Scratch. So I'm going to watch it and try to learn something. So here we go.
One of my classes showed me this game, agar.io. I think it's Agario. I like to click on the options and say no names. There we go. So I'm this little dot in the middle, and I gather these other little blobs. I guess they're maybe amoebas. And as I get them, I grow. And depending on where my mouse pointer is, that is the direction I go. And if I'm further away, I go faster. If I'm closer, I go slower. Let's build it in Scratch. First, I need to get some graph paper to use as the background. So I'm just going to Google for graph paper. Look for images. Any of these will really do. Let's just use this one. Nice and big. Let's right click on it. Save image as. And I'll save it on my desk.
Alright, so now I'm going to get some graph paper. So, graph paper. Let's find something. Let's find a good high quality image. Let's see. Let me see what he chose.
Desktop, I'll call it graph paper. Now I've opened up a new Scratch project, and I'm going to delete the cat, and I'm going to make a new sprite by uploading that graph paper. Here it is. And
okay, so let me get something similar to that. Let's see. It's very low quality. It's got watermarks all over it. Let's see. Well, I wouldn't imagine. I can't believe it's so hard to find a good graph paper. Let's see. Printable. Yeah, this looks good. Alright, so save image as desktop. Okay, let's crop this off the bottom. Change aspect ratio to custom. Rotate. Now save. Okay, so now we've got some nice high quality graph paper. 0.052. Alright, so now
I'll open that. It's not the best looking sprite.
Alright, so now we're going to import it into Scratch. So let's delete this. And upload this. Okay.
Right, but it will do. Now the way you make the background really large is a special little trick I learned. First, go to the costumes for that sprite and make a new one that's blank. And put that one before yours. So you're going to switch to costume 1, make the screen really big, and then switch to costume 2. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but let me show you how I do it.
Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Go to costumes, and no, you didn't want to duplicate it. Yeah, paint new costume and put this one before it. Okay.
And I will zoom in real quick. So when the game starts, switch to that backdrop. Or it's not.
Alright, let's add a when clicked script.
Not a backdrop, it's just a costume. switch costume to costume 1.
Okay, switch costume to costume 1, and that was under looks. Switch costume to costume 1.
Then do a motion, go to 0, 0. That will put it right in the middle.
Right, then go to, let's see, motion, 0, 0.
Then here's the crazy part. You want to change the size of it, the looks. Go here and do set size to, let's say, 800%.
Right, now we're going to set the size. Set size to probably 500% because mine's quite a higher resolution than his. Okay.
Then go and switch the costume to the costume you really want, which is graph paper.
Okay, now we're going to switch the costume to 0.052, which is the graph paper.
For some reason, this combination makes the backdrop really big. Watch. There we go. It is very large now. Now in this game, there's going to be a ball. I'll go ahead and draw that ball. And it's going to be in the center. Let's make mine green. It's going to be in the center, so I need to make sure that the sprite center is right there. Perfect.
Alright, now let's make a sprite that is a center. Let's paint a new sprite, circle. I'll make mine green as well. Right, now let's fill it in. And what did he do?
Perfect. And then I will drag it and draw that ball. And it's going to be in the center. Let's make mine green. It's going to be in the center, so I need to make sure that the sprite center...
Oh, okay, so he set it to the center right here. Right, it looks like it's about in the center.
Is right there. Perfect. And then I will drag it to the center. But it's never actually going to move. We're going to make...
Okay, so... there we go.
the graph paper move pointer. So go to the graph paper. Then we're going to do another when the game starts, or when the...
Okay, let's add this.
Flag is clicked, and I'm going to do a forever loop, and what the forever loop's going to do is say change the X position by wherever the mouse pointer is. The way we're going to do that is go to motion, and we're going to say change X by 10. Well, that's not going to work. Watch what happens. It's going to go real fast. Ooh, we don't want that. We want to go change X by the position of the mouse pointer. So let's go grab the X position of the mouse pointer. That's located in the sensing menu under mouse X. But what...
Okay, let's add a forever loop.
this is going to do is going to make it go to...
and do change X. Change X by... change X by... and then mouse X. Mouse X. Okay. Alright, so now...
quickly, because right now the mouse X is like 170, so this thing is going to be lightning fast. So to slow something down, you multiply it by a really small number. So go to operators, grab the multiplication, and let's times this by 0.01. That's about the smallest number I could think of. There, so mouse X times 0.01.
Alright, now let's go to operators. By 101. Drag it over here. Okay, so is it in? I don't think it's going on there. There we go, okay. Alright, so now...
Let's move this to the side. Now, it's going really slow.
Alright, now let's test it. It's backwards. I think that's too slow. Alright, let's watch.
I can only go side to side, so I need to copy this with change Y as well. Let's do change Y by the same thing. Duplicate it, but instead of mouse X...
Alright, let's do this. Okay, so change Y by... and duplicate... oh, that's not what I wanted. Duplicate this, and then do mouse Y. Let's see. Sensing, mouse Y. Alright, let's delete this. Alright, let's see. Okay, so now it's working, but it's still backwards.
We want to use mouse Y, which is right here. There. Now it's going to follow my mouse. Actually, it's going in the wrong direction. So we have to think opposite. The mouse is going this way. We want the backdrop to go the opposite direction. So we change this to negative 0.01, and then...
Okay, so we get the negative of it. Negative 0.01. Okay, now let's try it. Ah, there we go. That looks nice. That looks very nice. Okay.
This to be negative 0.01. Now we have a game that somewhat looks like a Gario. There we go. And the further away the mouse is, the faster it moves. Next, we're going to make those little amoebas that the big Agario is going to eat to grow larger. And we're going to actually need to steal this piece of code, because otherwise the little amoebas are not going to move at the same speed as the background. So I'm going to make a new sprite. I'm going to paint it. It's not going to be real interesting. I'm just going to make a purple, a little blob that I'm going to eat, and I'm going to fill it in. Make sure the center of that sprite.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, draw a new sprite. Add an ellipse, a small one. A little small one. Let's see. Let me undo that. How do I undo? Okay. Purple one. And fill it in. Now I'll center it. Okay.
Is right on the center. There we go. Now I'm going to give it some code, and I'm going to say when the game starts, forever make a clone of itself. That's going to make too many clones, so I'll have to slow it down a little bit. Let's...
Okay, so add some code to this. He adds a forever. And he creates a clone of myself.
Put a wait in there, the top of the control menu. Let's say wait 3 seconds before we make a clone.
Okay, so we'll wait 3 seconds.
Then, when it starts as a clone, because remember, clones only listen to the when they start as a clone directions. We're going to say go to a random position. And I'm going to have to go to the motion, go to X, Y.
Okay, when I start as a clone, motion, go to X, Y.
And we'll use the random number generator to put a random position. The furthest left is 240. The furthest possible right is...
Right, so 240 and 240. And the negative 240, 240.
Is 240, and for the y-axis, it's actually negative 180 is the furthest down, and 180 is as high as you can go. There we go.
Alright, so negative 180 and 180 in the random. Negative 180 and positive 180. Okay.
There we go. Let's see if this works. Every 3 seconds we should see one pop up. There it is. Notice how it's not moving? We need it to move exactly the way the background is. So I'm going to go steal the
Alright, let's test this. It's pretty neat. Alright.
forever change X, and I'm going to drag it to sprite 2 and let go. There, that copied that code over so that I can put it right here.
Okay, so the forever change. Let's watch that again.
We need it to move exactly the way the background is. So I'm going to go steal the forever change X, and I'm going to drag it to sprite 2 and let go.
Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so let's see if it worked.
There, that copied that
Okay.
code over so that I can put it
Let's put it right here. Alright.
here. Now it's going to do the same thing as the background, so it's going to appear not to be moving. Now I know you're thinking, well, what about this one? That one's a little bit different. Right, there we go. See the clones? The clones are moving with the background. Okay, so what do we do with this one right here? This is the one that's actually making the clones. It's only listening to this code right here. So what I like to do is go to looks and hide it, and then make sure that I show when I start as a clone.
Okay, so let's hide and start on sprite 2. Okay, looks, hide, and show. Let's see if it works. Alright, so it's coming right away. Alright, now
That will make the little mommy or daddy right there go away. Perfect. Now they'll pop up every 3 seconds. There it is. Now I just have to give it some code so I can eat it. So I'm going to be eating these purple clones right here. So let me shrink it up. And when I eat them, I'm actually just going to be deleting those clones. So I want to go to the control and grab delete this clone. I'll also want to grab an if statement. And the if statement is going to say if I touch the big Agario sprite, which I can probably just click on right here and rename Agario. There. And I'm going to rename this one food. There we go. And make
alright, let's go ahead and do that. Oops. Food and Agario. Alright, now let's go back.
make sure when it says create.
Let's add the if and then. That is on the food tab. Okay. Is there an else with that? No. So it's just if this then that. Delete this clone. Let's zoom in. Okay.
Clone of myself is creating clone of food. And stop. And here we go.
Creating clone of food. Let's stop this.
Go to sensing, and I'm going to say when these clones touch the main one, the Agario.
Okay, so sensing touching the Agario,
that I'm going to delete this clone. We go ahead and put this inside a forever loop. There we go.
okay, put this inside of this loop.
Now they will disappear when I eat them. Let's see. There's one, and it's gone. Last thing I'm going to do to these little food clones is I'm going to change their color so they're not all the same. So I'll grab this change color effect. I'll put it in the main code right here, and I'll get rid of this wait 3 seconds so we can see if the code is actually working.
Okay, so change color effect, and that is on the purple one. Looks, that is before the create, so let's okay.
Working. Here we go. See, they're all different colors now.
Alright, let's see. Alright, so that's great.
I'll put the wait 3 seconds back into this forever loop so that it's not over.
Okay. Before, now let's see. Okay, now let's look.
Overwhelming me. And let's get to eating the food. So let's go back to the big Agario ball that doesn't actually have any code because the background's moving. And we're just going to give him some very simple code. We're going to say that when the game starts, we're going to set his size to 100%. That way, he won't get big, and then the next time you start, he's still the same size. Actually, I can just set it at 50%. So when the game starts, he's quite a bit smaller. Perfect. Then I'll set up an if statement that says that whenever he touches one of the...
Okay, so when clicked, set size to 50%, and then forever. So, when clicked, looks, size, set size to 50%, and then forever.
Food sprites, he gets bigger. That's really simple. Just use an if, sensing, touching.
Okay. If, and then touching food.
Food that I'm going to grow. It's in the looks menu. Let's change size by, well, let's change size by 1 for the real game, but for my example here so I can see it, let's say change size by 10. There we go. Now let's wait the 3 seconds and we'll see a piece of food pop up. Let's eat it and he will get bigger. I don't see him actually changing size. Do you? So we have a pretty big problem with this code. I'm sensing to see if my Agario is touching the food, and I'll change the size by 10. The problem is as soon as I touch him, he's deleted right here. If touching Agario, then delete this clone. So I need to make sure there's enough time that the Scratch software notices that I've touched him. So I'm going to have to go in here and put a really small wait. Here we go. Before I delete him, I'm going to wait 0.01 seconds.
Okay, so wait 0.01 seconds before we delete. Alright, now let's look.
You won't even notice it, but it's enough time that this code will...
Okay, so change size by 1. Well, I'll do 100. That looks, change size by 10. Let's just do that. There it goes. It works. Let's change it back to 1.
Fire. So let's wait 3 seconds, and there is the food. Let's eat the food, and he grows. Let's eat that one, and he grows, and he grows. And when I stop the game and start it over, he's small again. Alright, well that's the basic game. I'm going ahead and eat some food right now. I can't wait to see what everybody makes with their own version of Agario on Scratch. Whoa!
Alright, so now I'm going to make a few tweaks to this code, just to kind of make it my own. First what I'm going to do, I think he may move just a tiny bit too slow. So let's go over here and do the background. I want to move 0.03. Alright, let's see how this works. Yeah, that looks a lot better. But now they're moving. Is it because the background can't keep up? 0.03. So 0.03 and 0.03. Now let's see if it's still messed up. Nope, they're standing still now. Alright, so that looks really good. Now let's see what else there is to change. Change size by 1. Let's see, let me view this in full screen. Oh no, I've reached the edge. So anyway, this is just kind of a simple introduction to Scratch. I've learned quite a bit about these different statements and things you can make. It's a good tutorial by, let's see, who was it? It's a good tutorial by Hackington's Code School for Kids, so I appreciate his work on this. You know, when I think of coding, I always think of a lot of numbers and booleans and all kinds of different things, and that's more what I'm used to with HTML and a little bit of coding in Arduino, an open source coding environment. But I think this is really neat, and I think it's a good resource for children to maybe draw an interest to coding. And it does teach life skills like critical thinking, just like math. And it does teach decimal numbers and things like that. So, thank you for your time.